Okay, let's start it. And we're live. Hey, Steven, how are you doing?
Very good, Afonso. How are you?
I'm great. Excited to get our second show going. Okay, let's start it. I think everyone can hear us now. So if someone can say something in the chat, just to make sure, I have us live here. Steven, if you want to start by kind of giving a rundown of what we're going to do today, so people can understand and follow up.
So it's good to just say what we did. So last time we did like the very dumbest thing. Well, not dumb, but the dumbest possible REPL, I guess, which is we loaded up Pact. We got Pact working in Ubuntu, which was nice. And then we made a REPL, like the simplest possible REPL we could ever think of in a hello world. And then we ran it in Pact interpreter and we got a hello world back, which is great. So we can actually use Pact, which is always a good first step. It's good to actually be able to use the language. So now what we want to do is we want to explore some features of the language. And the idea here is that we should talk a little bit about how to approach building things on Pact. So I know, Afonso, you were taking your interpreter, your mind. So there's declarative and imperative languages, and you have an imperative mind, and you were coming at Pact from an imperative point of view, and we want to share that struggle. And then we want to say, how do you actually approach building a program like a dice roll game, very simple, from a declarative point of view, or a functional programming point of view is what that actually means too. And we'll describe all that. And then once we have like kind of our mindset together, we'll go over the kind of data that we need to build a dice game, and we'll just kind of build some modules, and maybe we'll get as far as connecting those modules together in the REPL and then running some simple programs on that. I think that'll take us to 45 minutes. And then just to give an advanced view of the future. So part 3, we would actually build a front-end interface that can talk to the smart contract through API. And then we'll push that API to testnet and see if we could actually throw some dice against each other on Cadena, which would be really cool.
Okay, sounds cool. Sounds cool.
All right, it's all in your head. So maybe we could start by just sharing your experience. I think this is an experience many coders will have when they come to Pact. So maybe just share your experience when I give you a little task on Tuesday to think about building a dice game.
Yeah. So we were talking about doing this today, and you told me that we were building like the main functions and start trying to build it just on the command line as the other day, and I was trying to think what we needed to do to make the dice game, and my mind went straight to define variables and then start building functions, right? That's what you are trained to do in kind of the programming
imperative.
Yeah. So
because the imperative world,
my experience is with a very basic PLC kind of programming, which is very basic. You define variables, then you wait for inputs, do some functions, and set out some outputs. And I understood basically almost immediately that this wasn't going to cut it here, because it's really different the way you build it. So if you want to try and explain the difference between the imperative and the imperative and declarative, or
yeah, that's exactly right. So the best way you can think of it is either describing it via metaphor, like a painting, or making a cake. So we'll do it by making a cake. It's a good thing. So the most basic way to explain the difference between Pact and something imperative like Solidity is, in Solidity, you tell the computer what to do. And in Pact, you tell the computer what is, and then you let the compiler do the work. Okay, so the compiler is, when you have your smart contract and then you're compiling that code into something executable on blockchain, you're going to let the language itself, Haskell underlying everything, figure out how best to put your program together so it's the most efficient. And so this is a very important distinction between Solidity and Pact. In Pact, what we're going to do is we're going to define our data, we're going to define a process, and then we're going to bring that process, the entirety of it, to the data, and then a cake just pops out. So it's like a production line. So it's like your inputs go in, and then there's a box like a conveyor belt
Like
goes in the
box,
and
black
you don't
box.
know what's happening,
Yeah.
but you trust that box because Haskell is like really, really good at this. Like it's a very nice language. And then what comes out is like this beautiful cake with your name on it and like, some candles. But in imperative land, you have to, like in Solidity, you have to you have to define your variables. You got to say mix flour, eggs, water, sugar, mix it into cake, bake cake. That's your next function. So you have these classes. So the baking class, the mixing class, and then out comes the cake. And then maybe if you told the computer how to do everything just right, your cake will taste good.
Nice.
And if you make any mistakes, you get hacked and you lose all your money. Maybe VC takes all your money.
I'm not sure. I still understand how that works with the black box, but I think that's what we're going to find out now. Just real quick, so we don't lose a lot of time. Is this the reason why Pact is a lot more secure than Solidity, for example?
Yeah, I think so. Because the problem with imperative languages is when you're telling the computer what to do, you might make a lot of mistakes in something called the control logic. So for instance, if else, if else, if else, you have all these ifs and elses, and sometimes you might not see all ends. And then what comes out is a null at the end or something.
Yep.
And in Pact, this is not possible. It's a Turing incomplete language, which means there's no loops and there's no funny business with unbounded inputs. So like a huge
no infinite
input.
Loops. No infinite loops.
No infinite loops, no nulls. Nulls are not allowed because in Haskell, your functions must return something. Where in imperative land, you can get a null, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't know what to do, it'll just give you a null. So it's a much safer when we're using Pact. It's much safer to let the compiler do its thing when the language is solid in that method. And Haskell is the safest language of all. It's why Pact chose it. So when we're approaching this problem of building a dice game, then Afonso, knowing that, what we have to do is define all of our data first. So in functional programming, you define all of your data and your schemas first. You get all that going. And then once you know what your data is going to look like and you have your tables, which you can fill with data, then you build your processes, which is a function, or it's a pipe of functions. So imagine like the cake is like, you're describing what the cake is in a bunch of functions. It's like taking this data, doing this, cake. Okay. So your data is just, here's my data. I'm transforming it, transforming, done. That's how it works, rather than you telling it how all that works. You just trust the compiler will do a good job. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's try to figure out how the dice game is made. So, and to be fair, we haven't even looked at this. We don't know anything. We're just approaching this from a raw point of view right now.
Yeah.
So how would we approach this? So I guess kind of the base level here is the definition of a game. We have to define what a game of dice is. So in bar dice, what you do is you take 5 dice and you roll them 3 times. If you get a 6, 5, and 4, that means your ship is flush, and then you can add the 2 other dice. Okay, that's how that works. Have you ever heard of that before?
No, I had no idea. Okay.
No, okay. So you roll 5 dice, and if you get a 6, 5, and 4, it's called the ship, the captain, and the crew. And then you can add the other 2.
The other 2, okay.
And then whoever gets the most points takes the pot, entire pot.
What if you throw 3 times, no 6, 5, and 3, you don't 0. Okay.
You play again. Again. Yeah, that's called bar dice. I guess it's a fancy way of saying dice game or something. But let's try to play that game. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Because it's a little simpler than just whoever gets the highest roll, or it's a little more complex, but it's a little bit more fun. So I guess the first thing we ought to do is we ought to go into our old file and see what's there. So maybe let's change directory to that.
Which is,
I think it was dice game. Just press D tab.
Nothing.
Oh, or bar dice. Was it bar dice?
Bar dice, maybe. Yeah. Nope.
No. Okay, go LSA then for list all.
Okay.
Or LSA. Oh no, that worked.
Oh, it worked somehow.
Where did we erase it?
I don't think so. Is it? That's
Let's
weird.
see. Put the vim. Maybe just go into Pact and see if it was in there.
Okay. So cd pact, right?
Yeah.
Let's.
Just list in there.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. Okay, let's just do something quick to organize our lives here. Let's go back, cd space dot dot. Go back one, and then let's just make a new directory called Bardice. So
make dir like that.
That's right. And then just call it Bardice. You might have to sudo that. I'm not too sure. Just give it a go. No, you didn't. Okay, that's great. And then do this command. Go mv for move, space, and then go /. That's this directory, or slash, not dash.
Sorry, like this.
Yeah. And then go pact. And then go slash. And then go bar star.
Bar what? Oh, star. Like
Star.
this.
Yeah. And then go space. So it's going to move everything with that wildcard. So everything with bar in it, basically.
Okay.
And we're going to move that into Bardice. So // Bardice.
Like this?
That's right. And that's just going to move everything into there. So now let's go cd Bardice. Boom. And let's LSA just to confirm. Look at that. Everything's there.
Nice.
So one thing to note about Pact is that we're going to take all of our concepts and turn them into modules. So what are our key concepts here? One, we got to describe what a game is.
Correct.
We got to describe what a player is. Mm-hmm. We have to describe what a throw of the dice is. Mm-hmm. We also have to describe what a account is.
Okay.
So, money in the account, we're trying to change hands, and then maybe one day in the future we'll connect actual wallets to it, but we can just kind of hard code that now. Okay. So I think out of those four things that kind of describe, so you can kind of imagine that describes the entire game of dice, right? Game, player, action,
throw, yeah.
And then money accounts. Mm-hmm. Or, usually in a bar, it'd be some guy with 3 teeth holding the money, right?
Yeah.
The
bag of coins.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not Lucky Joe. Unfortunately, we have Pact and escrow to keep everything safe. So that's great. I think where we should start now is to build a module called game or something like that. What should we call it?
Dice game, maybe?
Dice game. Yeah, let's do that. So what you want to do is, and all this will be connected in a single REPL, the Bardice REPL. So I think what you do is you go vim. So we're vim to create a new text file. We're not going to use Atom SDK. We're just going to use vim the old-fashioned way because we're old, right? Not cool like the cool kids. But what we want to do is we want to go vim dice game .pact.
Dice game .pact, like this?
That's right.
Just enter.
So we're going to press enter again. That's going to open up a new file, which is blank, and we're going to code up our module here.
I know this one. Wait, insert.
That's right. And always when you're making a Pact module, you're going to define which key sets can access this module. Okay. Right. So we won't get that far as key sets. That's for the deployment next time. But we're still going to define it here. So basically what a key set is, it's just a list of cryptographic keys that can access this module, and you better have one of those keys, right? Okay. And you usually get one by getting it made when you deploy your smart contract to testnet, but we're not getting that far, but we still need to define it. So it's define -key set is the command here.
Define?
So define dash key set.
Key set.
So we're going to define a key set that can access this module. Always we're protecting it. So I believe you now define a variable, which should be a single quote.
Oh, sorry.
In this,
okay.
Yeah, no, single quote. Yep. And then we're going to call this dice game admin. That looks like a funny single quote.
It's not a single quote?
Oh, there's two types of single quote, I think. Is that the right
Let me
one?
try again.
Like a straight one.
Maybe
Like the
this
double
one.
quote?
Yeah, this is on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Sorry. Yeah, that's right.
And then just call it dice game dash admin. So you had better be, to make a game, you had better be a game administrator, basically. And then what you're going to do is you're going to space,
Okay.
2 parentheses again, and you're going to read in that key set. So read dash key set. Correct. And then we're going to space, and then we're going to define another variable in Lisp inside the parentheses, please.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yes. And we're going to call it dice game dash key set.
All of this dice game dash key set and dice game, this read key set and define key set, this is all from Pact, right? This is all from.
Yeah, these are core Pact functions. In fact, can you bring up the? We might as well look at it. I mean, it doesn't hurt to look at it. So bring up the language. Let's go actually look at the definition. I mean, we have this wonderful documentation, so we might as well just write in read dash key set.
Okay. And
go see what they say. Let's go see what the Galaxy brains say, because I don't know. And
right? Read key set.
Yes. Perfect.
Read key from message data block as key set. Keys, key list.
And a predicate function, which is a true or a false. It's all a predicate function is. So basically it's a keys, and it's a list of keys. These are a list of cryptographic keys which can touch this module. Okay. And as Afonso, you're going to get a key. As Steve, I'm going to get a key. And if I have those keys, I can create a dice game for other players to play in. So basically you would you would own a room or something like that. And you can create dice games for people in your room and take a tax on it or something like that.
So only if we have these keys, can we allow people to enter the games? Okay.
Yes, that's right. So let's go back to the code now. So that's all. Actually, what is what else define keys? So define is simple too, right? We don't need to go there. Yeah, it's just defining the name of the key set.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see those get passed in here through a transaction in the REPL, I believe. And we'll see that later. So, but this is all you need to get started. And then what we're going to do is define the module itself. So go 2 lines down to line 3. You're going to open up a parentheses and then just space it down to so that we can, And then what you're going to do is you're going to say module after the first parentheses.
Right here?
Yeah, just type module. And you're going to call it the dice game, space dice game. That's the name. Namespace, I think. And then you're going to give it a key. So to touch this module, you must have the key. So you've defined a key a key set called dice game key set. So you'd better feed it a key, which is.
So we need an input like this?
No, a variable.
Oh, okay, another variable.
And it's dice game dash key set, the one you just defined.
Okay. Like this, okay.
Correct. Then what you want to do is go 1 space down. It's always good to comment your code. And so what Pact gives you is the ability to comment, and then space it forward too, if you please, just for cleanliness.
Okay.
Oh, your tabs are terrible. You can just go space actually. So go back.
Oh, this doesn't work. Key sets.
Welcome to Vim world. It takes a while to get used to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just simple. And then let's just say data and functions that involve starting and ending a dice game or something.
What? Sorry, that
involve starting and ending a dice game. Okay, and so now you have your basic module set up, ready to describe the things that live inside of it. So all modules are key sets, tables, functions, and sometimes things called packs, which are beyond the scope of this tutorial, which is just a function. It's just a multi-step function. So essentially, it's just functions and data. That's it. It's so simple. And so the very first thing we want to do is set up something called a schema.
Okay.
And a schema is going to be the thing that we put in something called a table. The table holds the data. And in Pact, what the data is, it's a key value store. So you have a key, the thing, what the thing is, and then the value, which can be like this object, or it can be a floating point number, it could be an integer, it can be a string, it could be all types of things, whatever the data you want it to be. So we're going to define what the data inside of a game, what is a game? Like, so, what is that object?
Let me just try to see if I understand. So you have tables that have pairs. Is this correct? They have some kind of pairs. And those pairs can be schemas, or you can have schemas on those pairs, on the one of the sides of the pairs, right?
That's right. It's the key, which is the idea, the thing that you want to get, and the thing that you want to get. And that thing could be an object, or it can even be just a number, like something simple.
Okay.
But in this case, it's an object. So so Pact has these cool things called schemas where you can describe your data. And so the very first thing is we're going to describe all of our data before we even run a single function. So we're going to do this multiple times in 3 different modules. So what you want to do is you want to go def schema, and just give it a space there. So, so
here
after, if you go up one and then press end.
Oh, sorry. End.
Yeah. Little trick in Vim. Boom. See, it's so much faster when you learn the tricks in Vim. And then you can press return to go down one. Okay. Just give it a little space. It's nice to do that. I'm pretty anal about that, but okay. So def schema, and what we're going to do is we're going to give it a name, and maybe we'll call it game-schema.
Game schema, okay.
And that's the name of the thing. So what we do now is we return twice, and we're going to comment this. So what is it? It's a description of a dice game. That's all. I always tell people what you're doing, right? That's always a good thing to do. Done. And so we need to describe what the hell a game is. That's part of my language, but what a game is. So what you want to do is you probably need a few things in here. So at its base level, a game is a room where everyone sits in the room and throws the dice. And so we probably need something called a room. So what you do is you give it the name, and then you give it a double dot or a colon, as we call it in North America, and then the actual type of the thing that you're describing. So try this. Go room, double dot, string. Okay. Now that is an entry. So now that's data. It's expecting you, when you add something to the table, to have something called a room, and it's going to be a string.
Okay.
All right, that's what a schema is. So it's a schematic for the type of data that you're putting into the table.
Okay.
So we're going to need a room, right? And that's just going to be the name. So it's going to be Afonso's Dice Club or something like that. No, it's a seedy place, I heard. So, and then what we need to do is, because we need players to be in the game, right?
Yeah.
What we're going to do is we're going to describe. So just press return, no need for comma. And then 2 up, player. Now we need players.
Okay. Players. And now,
that's right.
This should be string as well?
It should be a list. And so what we need to do is we're going to define players later, and then we need to insert that module into this one, and then get the player schema in there. But for now, it's just an empty list. Okay, so which is just brace, square brace, yep. Right. And inside that, you can do something like put player objects inside that, but we need to describe that in another module before we do that. Okay. So we're just describing all our data. That's all. Now the thing we need to do is describe the rounds of the game. So at its simplest level, it's just a bunch of players in a named room going through a bunch of rounds of throwing dice, and once the dice is over, we add up the score, and then the game ends. Exactly. Whoever wins takes the money. Mm-hmm. So we need both max rounds and round. So, and they're both integers. So go max rounds.
Can I do this, or should I just put it?
You can do whatever you like.
The dash,
yeah.
okay.
I think so, yeah. I mean, it'll tell us if we can't, so that's good. And then you go integer. Exactly.
Or like this, or just int?
Correct, integer, actually.
Okay.
And then you go round, like what is the actual round, right? So we'll be updating that. So just round instead of rounds.
I can't put just round for some reason.
Oh no, because that's a function.
It's
but
a
if you press double dot,
okay.
Okay, it goes away because it understands now it's a schema type. So that's nice. And then what you want to do is you want to tell people if the game is started or not. So is the game still ready to start, or is it actually started? So you need a Boolean, right? So return, and then go is started, is / started. Yeah, and then a bool. Perfect.
Bool is just returns true or false, right? So if people
once the game starts, a Boolean is just true or false, a 1 or a 0. It's the same thing. And then in terms of computer lingo, anyway. So I guess the very last thing we need to describe here in this game is the throws. Like, what were the actual throws? So we can go return and then go throws. And what that is, it's going to be a list of rounds, but for now we can just leave it as empty list. Okay. And then we'll describe that later when we build our submodules to this. Okay, so that's your data. And what you want to do now is describe your table now. So this is the this is the value that's going into the table. What you want to do is you want to say def table now. So go underneath this, double parentheses.
Def table? Oh, sorry.
Def table. And then you want to give it a name. Let's call it games. So it could be many games, right? And then you do a double dot, and curly braces.
Curly braces, like this?
That's right. And close. And then you're going to say game schema in there. So you're going to give it the schema that you want to be in there, right?
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Now, before we write any functions at all, what we want to do is we want to make this table exist. And what you do is outside of the module, you give it a, pardon me, got my little notes here.
Want me to go check it out on the
No, I think it's fine.
Okay.
What you need to do now is say create table. So you need to actually create the table when we run this.
Like this? No.
And then dash. So maybe a dash in between create table. Yep. Sorry. Perfect. And then games, space games.
Like this?
My phone's going nuts here. Yikes. Perfect. So all this module does is it just creates a table, and there's no way to interact with it. But that's okay, because we want to describe all of our data before we write any functions. I know that's not how the Pact tutorials do it, but this is how I approach things in functional programming. Okay. And then once we have all our data ready, we want to connect together our data, because we're going to connect the player's schema where that empty list is in the throws schema.
Okay.
And then we're going to write the account schema. We're going to steal that from Pact because they did all nice code for us in the demo. So we'll steal all of that. And then we'll get it all hooked up in terms of what our data looks like. And then we write our functions.
Makes sense.
And then get her done. So let's actually, probably what we want to do, actually, no, there's actually a fast way to do this. Let's just save this now. So go double dot, or press escape.
Escape.
To get out of insert, yeah. Perfect. And then double dot to get into commands, and then just WQ.
Yeah.
Boom. Now we have beautiful dice game.pact, and now we need to describe what an actual player is. So I think what we want to do is we want to go we want to copy dicegame.pack so we don't have to write all that again. So we can go CP, dicegame, the D tab, done. And then what we want to do is go player.pact. We don't want to write all that over again. It's horrible.
Okay, like this.
Perfect. That's right. So we're just creating our modules and we'll connect them all up later. So vim player.pact. Now we're going to describe what a player is.
Now I need to do the V stuff to delete some of this, right?
I'll show you some tricks in Vim that speeds things up. So, okay, how do I do this without sounding like crazy? Okay, so what we want to do is change all dice game instances. So dice game admin, dice game key set. So what you can do is you can go /. So / is a search function that so you don't have to go up and down. It's actually much, much faster to use this, and just go dice G.
Dice G?
Yeah, and then press return. Takes you to the first instance. Bam. Okay. Now you can press insert. There's actually even faster ways to do this, but I don't want to confuse people quite yet.
Insert?
So now you can press insert and then erase, and then let's go player. Player.admin, is that a good name, I guess? Sure.
Yeah, why not? And now escape and do the same thing again?
Well, let's see, defining a player. Can we just use dice game admin again? I wonder. We need another key set here. Let's think about this. So the person who's creating these games and letting players on is the owner of a room.
Oh, it should be the same one.
Yeah, let's just use dice game admin again. Well, actually, when a player gets created, it is me joining a room. Yeah, it's me joining a room, right? When I join your game, I am the player, and then I'm running functions describing myself or joining, like I'm joining this room, and then I'm joining this game. So those functions are me doing it, not you, the admin.
Okay, so we need to change the key set?
Yeah, player admin is the right way, right? It's always the context of who's running these functions. So it's a player that's running these functions.
Okay.
So then press / again.
Escape, right?
Or escape then /, yeah.
And the same dice G?
Press up one, actually. You can actually just press up one and so /.
Okay, / nice G.
Boom. And then you can just go super fast between them all. Okay. There's actually a way you can do it all at once, but
let's leave that to the next time. Okay, so just replace here for player as well, right?
That's right. Player key set.
Oh, what?
You can press U to undo quickly too. Boom, boom.
Okay, player. What am I doing? Player.
Key set.
That's great. Okay. Escape. And let's do the same thing again, right? /
yeah.
Module player. How do you call the
That's
module?
Right.
Player.
Just a player. Yeah, it's just a player. What? Or players, I guess. Oh, is it player players? Yeah, I guess players is.
What is?
You can press U to undo.
U?
Yeah.
No.
Or what? Escape U. And press U. U. Okay. So U is undo, and
now I just
went too fast. Okay. So press R now. R is
it's the redo. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, you get used to it. I know it's a Vim, but you can do it the hard way if it feels more comfortable.
What's going on? It's just typing R. Okay,
it's just Vim. Yeah, it's just getting used to it.
Let's go inside. Maybe it's easier.
Yeah, let's just do it the hard way because I'm sorry, I'm getting too cocky with Vim.
Okay, it's it's player key set, right?
Yeah, that's right. Player dash key set. Sorry, I'm so used to Vim, and I don't actually press arrow keys anymore when I code. It's just Vim commands.
For me, it's hard still. It's still hard.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's my bad. So
let's try.
Just go manually. Just go manually down.
Let's go manually. So here.
And then.
Oh my God! What am I doing? Player.
just a player, right? Right.
Yeah.
And then you need the key set, the player key set. So you had better be a player
Okay,
in
okay,
the
okay.
key sets
Yeah.
to access this. You don't want the admin erasing you and stealing your money.
Yeah, that's great.
Although maybe admin can boot you, so we might add admin later. We don't know yet, but
Okay.
we'll see.
And now
And
here.
then just change the description.
Oh, sure. End, right? End.
Yeah.
So what
So
does
you're already
this?
getting there.
Slowly.
So this describes
What a player
functions that
is?
describe what a player is and can do, basically.
Okay.
Right. And so now we want to describe the player schema. Correct. Description of a player. So simple.
Okay. Now we should delete all of this, right?
Yes. We're going to describe now what a player is. We'll stay a little longer just to get this tutorial done. We can do an hour, right?
Yeah.
After an hour, it gets pretty bad for people, but
yeah, I think an hour.
I just want to get to functions. It just takes a while to code like this. So much faster if I could just rifle through it. But
so, that's cheating.
I know. So a player is super simple, right? It's just we're describing what a player is.
It has a name.
And I believe name, yeah, just a name, right?
String, I guess.
Okay, and what else do we need? Well, let's see. What else do we need?
Do we need the address? No, or is that this is outside of the scope?
I think we need the account of the player. So essentially, a player is a user which can get an account essentially. So an account should be described here. So again, an account should be an account schema is what it should be. However,
we don't have that.
Just write object. So you can type as an object. We don't have that yet, but we'll get back to it. We can write an object and then we can write just an empty curly brace. So it's just an empty object for now.
Okay, so should I just leave it like that? Object and like this. Oh, curly brace. Sorry.
Curly brace.
Like this?
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. So if we're thinking about this correctly, and this is the design of our game, the player is a name and an account.
Yep.
Nothing more. Maybe we add more down the road. I don't know, but this is basic, right? And so, but the account is again something where you have a key set. So we might actually need to add a key set in here as well. So let's add a key set as well in here. Okay. So go key set dash key set.
Sorry, dash?
Or sorry, not dash, double dot key set. Okay, so basically, if the player also has a unique key set that belongs to that player, right?
Okay, and it's different from the account? So it's completely...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the account is going to be the account object, and that account belongs to that player who has this key set, this user key set. So I think that's the right way to do it. Let me just check on my side here. I said we might get into the woods here. Pardon me, just one second, please. Look, just have some notes that I took.
Someone is asking me what I studied because I know so much about programming. Oh man, I don't know the first thing about programming. I studied mechanical engineering, and then I did a master's in automation. So I know a bit about very low level programming, but nothing like this. Not at this level.
Yeah, a key set, I think we're going to need a key set in there for sure, because a key set belongs to each individual player. And so we want to define that in the table. Okay. It's like, so this user has this key set that belongs uniquely to them, because later we're going to need to connect that to an account. So that's why we need that. And that describes fully a player. Okay. And so now you just create the table, or you define the table player as you did before.
Player, and here it's player schema and create table.
Players.
Players?
Players, yes.
But,
make sure you define your table as players as well.
Players.
Because there's multiple players, right?
Okay, yeah.
There's a whole bunch of players who can
Sure.
who can play games. Okay, now we're done that. Done. Now we got 2 more of these to get through, and then we're going to connect them together with interop, and then we can start writing functions.
So let's leave this one, right? QW.
That's right. Or
escape. WQ.
Make sure you double dot so double dot or colon runs the command for Vim, and then WQ out. Yeah, perfect. Right, quit.
Now let's copy again.
That's right. Copy.
The player one?
Sure. Yeah, it's the same thing. And then what we want is the
throw
or actions. Let's call it a throw.pact. Sure. So this will be the actual throwing of the dice.
Okay.
And the functions of adding up the points of the dice and aggregating the points.
Okay, so actions, right?
Yeah, let's do actions. Or I don't know. Actions is fine. Sure. Actions.pact.
Okay. And let's open. Oh, Vim.
It's agonizing naming things. What should I name? So, I don't know.
Okay, now let's go faster here.
So actions, yeah, just actions, and then you know what to do. So
it's player here. It's player, right? Or no? How do we need to change this to something else?
Let's see. So always think of the context now. Can we get away with using the same key set? Let's see. So when you're throwing a dice, it is the player, again, that is throwing that dice, right? And so only a player should be able to throw their own dice, not the admin. And therefore, I think we can use the same key set. That makes sense to me, right? It's just basically, sure, if you're a player, you should be able to throw dice. And therefore, you have access to this module. So great, we can get away with all of that. So less work for you, Afonso. It's super. And then what we want to do here is actions, I think. It's going to be our module name.
And describes what
the actions of a dice game.
Okay. Okay.
Of course, we might be getting this wrong, and KDABet might be laughing at us, but hey, we're learning. We're learning.
Yeah. Here
and then
actions.
I think what we want to say here is dice throw schema.
Throw schema. We'll have various schemas here, right?
I think only one. So let's see. Let's actually think about this. So the only action that happens in a bar dice game is you throw the dice. But we're going to have many functions which add the points.
Yeah. Yeah, the function adds the points.
Yeah, so it's just a table of dice throws, essentially. That's it. And then those dice throws comprise a big list that describe the game, right? Yeah, I think that's right. That makes sense to me. We could always change it in the next tutorial. And I should really code these things out before we do it. Next time I'm going to pre-code everything, so it's all in my head. So now this one's going to be a little more complex because of the way our dice game is played. So it's a description of a dice throw. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to give each individual dice throw a name.
Okay.
So it's going to be like, round one Afonso, basically. And so what we want to do is go name string, and we'll just give it some name. So it's a unique identifier.
Okay.
Or no, sorry. It's not the name of the throw. It's the name of the player. So let's call it player.
Player name? Player.
Just player, I think. Yeah, that's right. Name is a bad descriptor. And then what we want to do is for each throw, we have 5 dice. So you need to go die 1, die 2, die 3, die 4, die 5. And each one's an integer, right? It's 1 to 6.
There's got to be a way to do this faster, but
you can press V and then highlight it, and then P for paste. 4 P's for paste.
V.
So press V actually. So make sure you go down one though, so you just get the one line.
Like this?
There you go. Then go Y, yank.
Y what?
Y for yank.
Okay.
Okay, and then you should be able to press, so go over one though, so you're not overwriting R. So press right one.
I can't.
Oh, you can't? Okay, so press, go to insert. Hopefully you yank this properly. Go over one. Oh, no, just press P. There you go.
Here?
Or now press escape.
Okay, escape.
And then press P.
Okay.
There you go. And then do it two more times.
Four,
bam, bam.
Okay. Okay, that was not that bad. Now insert.
So you get used to it. I'm sorry. It's hard to communicate. For me, it's just like, bah, bah, bah.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, you learn it in time though. Vim is very powerful when you learn it. But you know, Pact has their own SDK too, which is pretty cool. It's called Atom, but we like Vim here. So there you go. So you have your 5 dice. So when we're doing this on a front end with an API and you throw your random numbers, they'll come into here. And those random numbers will pop into here.
Now we should have one that it's sum, and it's die 1 plus die 2, die 3. No? Oh no, because we need to check if there's a 3, a 4, and a 5, right? Or we need to check the numbers.
We'll do that in functions later. So
okay.
let's actually, you know, we know that we're going to have to add up the points, right? So we're going to have a function which adds up the points. And what you want to do is have an entry called points now. So in bar dice, you look to get a ship, a crew, and a captain, 6, 5, and 4, and then you add up the points. And so the points are just going to be an integer, right? And of course, there's 3 rounds in a game, so you're going to need the round.
Okay, round 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, let's see. So this is part of round 1, part of round 2, part of round 3. Yeah, I think we can get away with round here. That's right.
We defined round on the first one, right?
That's the current round of the game. So that we're going to update that, but this one is going to just be hard. So like if we want to aggregate everything in round 1, say there's 6 players and we need to get all dice rolls between round 1, we can write a function for that, where the other one is more sort of this is the place you are in the game at this current time. That makes sense.
So
this is raw data. It's just integer. Okay. And I think that describes the throw of the die, throw the dice. That's
we have the players doing it. We have the values for each of the dices. We have the points that we get from the throw, and we have the round that we're in, right? I think that's pretty much
perfect. Yeah. And so now what we need to do is we need to define the table properly, which is a throw, I guess. Yeah. Throw schema, sorry.
And here it's throws, right?
That's right. Make sure you say throws in the def table too, not throw.
Yep.
Okay, we're almost there. It's so painful, right? But we're almost there. Now we need one last thing, I believe.
In this one?
No, one last module to complete our data structures. Okay, so WQ out of there, that's done. You know.
Let's copy this one again.
Sure, yeah. And we're gonna actually copy Cadena. So Cadena is nicely written the idea of accounts for us in their tutorial system. So we don't have to do anything actually. What I'm gonna do, search for a link. Okay, where is this link, Cadena? Pardon me. So I'm gonna go to Cadena, Pact.
We have a friend here that's long-time programmer and dying to begin Pact. Well, you've come to the right place, my man.
Oh, we're making so slow progress, but you'll get there in time with us. Let's code. Yeah, I mean, this is what it's all about, defining all your data before you even write any functions. Just like, what the heck describes the thing that I want to do? This is functional programming 101. So you're already learning functional programming as opposed to imperative programming. So very cool. Now what I need to do is I need to get to the Pact. See, I want to save you a lot of time, so I'm going to Pact main. Okay, so like Pact GitHub. Pardon me, I'm just doing it on my computer in the back end here. And then Pact, where is your, how come when I type Pact GitHub, it doesn't show up? Pact GitHub Kadena? There we go. You got to add Kadena for Google search. Naughty Google. Naughty Google. And then I think there's this thing called demo in Pact. And geez, I should have had this up and running here. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll run the Pact tutorial on the side here.
Okay. In the meantime,
we'll have to,
should we copy something or just wait for that and then copy the whole thing to a new?
I can bring it up on my side here. The tutorial is so weird because they. Let me just get to it here. Here we are. Okay, and we'll just do the same thing that we did before. I think it's Will Martino's. I think it's Will Martino, but it's his like tutorials. They're very, very nice, and you can find them. Actually, I'm going to post this, so I'm going to cut it and give it to you to put on YouTube for everyone to see.
Yeah, I'll just put it on.
Putting it in chat. Like seriously, Kadena did a super good job on their tutorials. It's like we're just copying them in a lot of ways here, except we're just building a different app than they are.
Okay, I'll just show to the YouTube folks what we're looking at. This is what we're opening.
You see all those cool little things on the left-hand side, that list.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they go through everything perfectly. Like we're just doing redundant stuff. We're just doing it in a more layman's term than they are. So everything is there to create things if you really dig into it. But essentially what we want to steal here, like we've been writing our own program, but what we want to steal here is from Pact accounts and transfers. Like why think of it all when they've done it all already, right? Never reinvent the wheel with code. That's number one.
Yep.
So I'll tell you what, let's go back to the code and then I'm on the other side here and I'll tell you what to print down there.
Okay. So CP, should we copy this one or just build a new one?
It's faster to copy bardice.pact, I think, because we're going to use the same. Actually, no, player.pact, right? Because key set that we want for this context for the account, no, it's actually going to be the admin that we want, I believe.
Bardice.
Yeah, because.
Should we copy it to, how are you calling this module?
We want to call it accounts.pact.
Let's go. And let's open, Vim. There we go.
Boom. So, oh no, not Bardice. Dice game. That's the hello world, Mok is everywhere.
Yeah, this one. This is the old one. Okay, let's leave this. And how do we delete that? Delete that?
You can copy and it'll overwrite it. So just instead of Bardice, go dice game. We might get as far as to write a single function today. Dice game accounts.pact.
Accounts.pact. Okay. Okay, there we go.
Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're going to use the same admin key set. That's great because you want the administrator to oversee the accounts. So you're going to load your wallet data in here, and then this money will sit in escrow, as we develop this. And we don't want the players to be able to run functions like,
get all money.
Yeah, get all money. That would be terrible. Although it'd be good for me if I had access and you didn't. That'd be great. But
exactly.
I think here we want to go down to the schema. So let's see, define. We're going to call this accounts, though. Sorry, in module. That's right.
And then we have to change this.
It involves payments.
Involves payments. Like this?
Yeah, we can change it around later. It involves payments and
Transactions.
and account values, I guess. Transactions between accounts, sure, or whatever you want. We can change it later. It doesn't matter, but it's enough. And then we want to go account schema account because it's not multiple, right? It's just one account. Correct. Yeah, description of an account. And we're just gonna rob Kadena for their great code.
Okay, and now should we go to the other page?
No, so we want to erase those 6 lines there because we're going to write. It's super. Accounts are like super simple. It's just a key set. So remember before in players we had a key set, right? Mm-hmm. So here we can just get away with saying if you better have that key set to get that table. So what we want to do is write key set $. Key set. What that means is that each entry in the table is going to have a key set, and that key set belongs to a certain player that we defined before, right?
Mm-hmm. And it has to match. That's what you're saying, or
no? Let's see. Yeah, that's right. It's going to have to. We're going to write a function where it has to match, but we're describing our data and what it looks like, mm-hmm. And then I think just robbing from Kadena here, balance, and the balance is going to be a decimal. There's no float, there's just decimal. And that's it. That's all it really is. And then we want to Okay. So what have we done here? We have described all of the data in the schema and the tables where all the data is going to live, and we're going to interconnect it all. We've described it all in modules. So it's important here to understand that this is what Pact is very good at. You try to take your contexts and split them up into the smallest, like you don't want to have 4 schemas in a single module, right? So your modules naturally split everything up into tables, and then we want to relate it all. But I see that it's almost been an hour already. Mm-hmm. And maybe, Afonso, I don't know if you're willing to do this, but would you be willing to come back on Wednesday and we can do 2 in 1 week?
Sure.
So we can make progress on this?
I'm ready to go, man. Anytime. So
you would come?
Can we do the same hours today? Maybe?
Yeah, for sure. And then we can, yeah, for sure. And then just because, an hour has gone by and people get tired, but we could write the functions for the dice game. Because sure. I know this was schema, key sets, and functions, but we didn't get to functions because just a little bit slow, unfortunately, when we're doing code this way. But I think we described a very important factor here in developing smart contracts. And this is how you should do it every single time. Describe all of your data first. So on Wednesday, what we'll do is we will interconnect. We will show the interconnection of these modules together. And then you can have this function called use. Actually, if you want to just bring it up really quickly. It's on the Pact documentation.
Go there, right here?
That's right. And then just type in use. So what you can do is you can use this cool function called use, and you can bring in modules into other modules, and then use functions from those modules. So, the way we think about this is at the top, we have the game, and then we have the player, and then the player has an account and a throw. And it's kind of like that structure. And so we want to aggregate that data upwards, and we do that with this function called use. Okay. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but that's what we're going to do on next Wednesday. We're going to connect it all together and then start writing functions where we can actually start playing these games now and interacting with the data in these tables. So let's come back Wednesday and do two this week. Perfect. Instead of 1, because I'm excited to show people Pact and stuff. But just unfortunately, time is out. So
we'll have Pact tutorial 2.5 next Wednesday. And
let's call it 2.5.
Yeah, and we'll go to 3 on Sunday. Sounds perfect, man.
Yeah, and apologies to everyone. We just go slow when we code this way, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not easy.
But steady, and we're talking about concepts here, and we'll get to 2.5 on Wednesday.
Yeah, and for everyone who's watching or will be watching in the future, thanks, and I hope this is being useful for you. It is being useful for me actually because I'm learning today with these modules. I think it kind of gives us it gives me a different context to how you do things here. So I was completely lost, and now I kind of understand what we're doing. We're defining the data, the modules, and now with use we're bringing it all together. And I can't wait for Wednesday.
Yeah, let's rock and roll. That's when everything will click and come together for you, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So for everyone watching, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and well, see you all on Wednesday. See you, Steve. Thanks.
Thanks, Afonso.
Bye. And